Looks like we had about 20 in the waiting room, which is solid. We had a little over 100 sign up, which is good for integration webinar. Like 100 is usually pretty good if I'm just doing a follow boss webinar, but having to have two
Yeah.
platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we may get solid 30, 40 people. Usually I get like 30% of the
Yeah.
registrants. Appreciate everyone being here. We're going to be going over a follow-up boss Skyslope integration to keep your agents in follow-up boss and your transaction coordinators and listing coordinators in Skyslope. Mitch, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So thank you from Interface. We really appreciate your time. Looks like we have a pretty solid group here, especially for an integration webinar. Joining us is Lisa Vo from Simply Closed. So if you need your follow boss account dialed in for transaction management, Lisa can help you out. She's definitely worked with a lot of our clients and dialed them in. Fantastic. So what you'll learn on this call is how interface embedded web forms work within Follow Boss, how interface forms can automate everything that needs to happen within Follow Boss, and how interface forms will integrate with Skyslope and additional details about the Skyslope integration. So before we start, the reason we're doing this webinar is we've gotten a lot of requests, probably the most requests of anything to build a Skyslope integration for Follow Boss. But what people want and what people are willing to pay for aren't necessarily always the same thing. So this webinar is to kind of determine if it makes sense to build what we're planning on building. So we've met with Skyslope already. They provided us with a sandbox development account. We've gone through and run tests, figured out the best way of developing this integration and what the Skyslope API is capable of. Assuming we get a handful of subscribers and it's worth our time to build, then we're going to build the integration. Should take somewhere between 6 to 12 weeks to build. Since we only need a handful of subscribers, we're going to give some pretty good bonuses to the first 5 subscribers who subscribe today. And then we're going to have additional bonuses for anyone who subscribes by the end of the month. How this is going to work should only take 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how many questions we get. So I will stick around after the presentation for as long as necessary to answer questions. Type in your questions as you think of them. We have the Q&A up and running, or you just go type it in the chat. Get out your notepad and start writing things down, any action items. And this is being recorded, so we will provide access after the webinar. So who am I? What is Interface? So I started my career as a real estate agent back in 2007. Best time ever to get into real estate for those of you who remember back then. When the market collapsed, I actually played online poker professionally while living on the beach down in Mexico. So here was my office. I used to play 24 tables at a time, and the way I was able to do that was by leveraging automation and analytics. And so now that's actually a very similar skill set to what you need to do data science and analytics. So I ended up getting hired as a database manager in 2017 for the top selling real estate team in San Diego at the time, Repoint Realty. And then I started Interface as an automation and integration solution for Follow Up Boss. So what does Interface do? We're an automation as a service platform that enhances the capabilities of the best web apps in the real estate industry, such as Follow Up Boss and Open to Close. Our focus is keeping agents in Follow Up Boss and building customizations that force them to do what they're supposed to do and prevents them from messing everything up. So I'm sure everyone on this webinar is familiar with managing agents, and it's challenging enough getting them to do what they are supposed to do in Follow Up Boss. So going into other platforms like Skyslope is ideally avoided at all costs. So that's what we're trying to do is set up systems in Follow Boss that allows your agents to stay in Follow Boss and push all the data anywhere it needs to go. We recently partnered with Kyle Whistle, the Whistle Realty Group, current top selling team in San Diego and the team with the highest volume sold at EXP in 2024. He helps us figure out what we should build and how to build it. All right, so quickly, I'm going to go over our roadmap plans for the future. So we're also working on an analytics platform. It's actually in beta now. So we have an opportunity table which operates kind of as a spreadsheet. It's available to any of our web form users, and we are going to have additional analytics launching soon. So this is what the opportunity table looks like. We're about to launch a conversion ratio report. So right now this comes with all of our web form subscriptions, which is what the Skyslope integration is going to be built off of. So we also built an automation platform. So this is similar to like Zapier or Make. So we have a lot of automation triggers within Follow Up Boss that don't exist. So we could trigger automation if any of these things happen, texts, calls, emails, website events. For any Zilla Flex user, we just set something up where if a property inquiry appointment is set, we can automatically generate a e-form request that gets text to the agent, and when they fill it out, the text goes to the client, so it completely automates that process. We have some cool stuff around this, but this is a separate product. We're not going to be focusing on this today. So if you're ready to learn how we plan to integrate Skyslope with Follow Up Boss, go ahead and type yes into the chat. That's my chat. Awesome. All right. Skyslope dry pyramid. So what does dry mean? It's a software development principle, which means don't repeat yourself. So in software development, it's about building functions that do similar things over and over again, so you don't have to keep writing the same code in multiple different places. How this relates to real estate teams is I'm sure you're all exhausted by duplicate data entry. And so our goal is to eliminate duplicate data entry throughout the organization, and not just for single people at the organization. Once somebody enters data in somewhere, we want it to flow to anywhere else it needs to go. And so how we're tackling that now is being able to enter data into Follow Up Boss and have it flow into Skyslope. First is pending buyers. So there'll be a pending buyer form in the Follow Up Boss account. When that form is submitted, we're going to create the buyer transaction in Skyslope. For listings, we're going to have a listing agreement signed form as well as a pending listing form. So when the listing agreement signed form is submitted, it'll create the listing in Skyslope. Then when the pending form is submitted, it will notify the TC, and the TC will convert the Skyslope listing into a pending, and then all the data that was entered on the form will get pulled into the pending transaction in Skyslope, so the TC doesn't have to enter all that data. When any of the forms are submitted, if there are contacts on the form, such as the TC or opposite agent or opposite TC or any other contacts you want to add onto the listing or transaction in Skyslope, we will push that data in so you don't have to enter that data twice. The goal here is to keep your agents in Follow Up Boss, but we are also going to build a bidirectional sync, so when updates are made in Skyslope, it will flow back to the Follow Up Boss deal. So I didn't mention that earlier, but when any of our forms are submitted, it creates the Follow Up Boss deal or updates it to the next stage in the transaction. And so that Follow Up Boss deal will be synced to the Skyslope entity. So when updates are made to Skyslope, it can sync that data back into Follow Up Boss and vice versa. So that's an overview of how we plan to build it. Who's excited to see a demo of how the forms work in Follow Up Boss? Go ahead and type yes into the chat. Awesome. All right. So now we're going to go over to, well, first I'm going to start an interface. So this is our platform. So like I said before, we have automation platform, we have a form builder, and we're in the process of launching analytics. So the form builder, this is how you will be able to create the forms in Follow Up Boss. For this integration, we are going to be able to build these forms for you, but if you need to make updates, you can come in here and make updates without having to reach out to us. So this is the form we're going to focus on in Follow Up Boss, but I just wanted to show you how it looks in here. So it's full drag and drop interface. You can come in and add whatever fields you want. You just drag them over. We also have primary fields. So these are fields that already get mapped to the entity in follow boss. We also have a field mapping section where any of the fields on the form can get mapped to either the deal fields or the contact fields. And then when the form's submitted, it'll automatically map that data over there. We also have custom fields. So once you create a field on a form, it turns it into a custom field. And then that custom field can be used on subsequent forms in your transaction process. And then once data is entered on one form, if you're using the same field on the subsequent forms, the data will be pre-populated. So I'll show you what that looks like. But when something goes from listing to pending, when you're submitting the pending form, any of the data that was entered on the listing form will already be on the pending form, so it doesn't need to be re-entered. So now we're going to dive into follow boss. So we have a follow boss lead record here, and we have an embedded app over here. So when we go to an opportunity forms, our opportunity forms are synced to follow boss deals. So they're associated with a pipeline. So I'm going to go to my seller pipeline. And then I'm going to go to my seller listing form. Click here, and it opens it right here in the window. So you may have noticed an appointment form. Our appointment forms are pretty awesome. They can create the follow boss appointment. They also schedule a text to go out to the assigned agent after the appointment that has a link to the form they need to fill out to indicate what happened on the appointment. So you can easily collect data on your appointment outcomes. But here's our listing form. So we'd have optional fields like transaction type, but then we also have required fields. So the benefit of this, and this is why our integrations work so much better than most other follow boss integrations. Most integrations use the follow boss deal. And the follow boss deal just has a big list of fields. Nothing's required. So if whatever follow boss is being integrated with requires certain fields, it's dependent on the agent to enter that data. And if they don't, then the integration doesn't work properly. And so by being able to require certain fields be entered within follow boss, we can make sure we're collecting all the data that is necessary to sync to whatever we're integrating with. And so it makes our integrations much more reliable. So any of these fields can be synced to the deal or the contact field. So if you want to use any of these fields in merge fields in emails, you can also require them. That'll make sure it gets mapped to the custom field. So then when the email goes out, all of your merge fields will have the data that your template is dependent on. We can collect gross commission percent, agent commission percent. So we can make the form dynamic. Yes, there's a referral fee. Now it can collect additional info. No, then that stuff doesn't appear. Agreement sign date, agreement expiration date, last live date. You can collect sign requirements, so marketing requirements on here. Escrow company. So you can put like escrow companies, or if it's other, oops, then you can collect the other if you have like recurring escrow companies you use, and then we're gonna submit. All right, and so now we'll get a note with everything that was entered on the form, and we'll get a deal here in a second, but we can automate anything that needs to happen. So here's our deal. Let me refresh. So puts address on here, 123 Main Street, put the price, put it in the seller pipeline and the listing stage, but we can automate everything that needs to happen. So the benefit of this is instead of training your agents of doing like 5 different things in Follow Boss, like update the contact stage and populate custom fields and trigger an action plan, we can automate everything from the form. The additional benefit is you can start getting much more granular since we can require certain fields. So let's say you have an action plan, you have certain tasks that need to happen on a listing for $1 million plus, and you have another action plan that doesn't have as many tasks for stuff that's under $1 million. You can require the listing amount be put in, and then you can trigger the appropriate action plan based on the price. where that's just not something that can be reliably done in follow boss. Because if your agent forgets to put the price, then neither of the action plans will get triggered. So it really makes the automation much more reliable. And then now, if we want to update this to pending, I'm not going to go through that form, but this tile that I just clicked on is associated with this deal. It'll also be associated with the Skyslope listing. And so now when we go to the next form, which is the pending form, now this is going to update. So you can see the data is already entered. The last name is already there. If I go down to the address, all the address info that I put in is already there. And so you don't have to re-enter the data into the form that was already submitted on the previous form. If something has changed, then you can update it, but the data is already there. So does anybody have any questions? Yeah, so if we use many of the same companies over and over, title, mortgage, can it autofill their details? Yeah, it can. So we'll be able to store that stuff in our system so that when it's selected on the form, then we can put that data into Skyslope. So yeah, we can do that. And then if you're collecting additional info or info on a new mortgage company that you don't normally use, then you'll just enter the data. What if people change? So if you have something saved, you'll be able to update that info in the interface system. So that's going to be part of the integration that we build is you'll be able to store different entities in our platform. And if they change, you'll just update the details in our platform and that data will get synced over. Can it pull lead data? Yeah, so it will pull lead data, address, phone, email, so you don't have to enter that in. So any of the data that's already on the lead record, that's a great question. Any of the data that's already on the lead record, when the form's submitted, our system has. And so that'll be part of the mapping process when we build out the integration, is we'll map the data, phone number goes to your, the client contact and address goes to address, and we can map all that data from the lead record, including people in relationships. Yes. So we also have the relationship data, and so that can be part of the mapping. So when the form's submitted, it will create the listing and then map the relationship from follow boss relationship to secondary contact, for example, in Skyslope. Any other questions related to how the forms work in follow boss? All right, we're going to go back to, all right. So here's the goodies of exactly what we're going to build and what the normal cost will be and what early adopters will pay. So the setup for 4 forms, we typically charge $99 per form to set up. So that's $396 value. So you're going to get access to the forms immediately as soon as you subscribe. It is going to take somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 months to develop the Skyslope integration. You will get access to the forms in that during that time frame, but your year subscription won't begin until the Skyslope integration is up and running. It really will be closer to like a 15-month subscription. The cost of the basic form subscription is $79 a month. That includes 4 forms: listing form, or listing agreement signed form, listing pending form, buyer pending form, and then you'll have a 4th form that you can use, like an open house form or lead generation form. Some teams use an all about you form for sending to clients. So it's $79 a month plus $20 for the Skyslope integration. So the total cost would be $1742, but until the end of the month, it will be $999. We also are going to give an additional discount for the first 5 people who sign up. So it'll only be $799 for the first 5 subscribers. So there's going to be a coupon code that we're going to have. And so that coupon code only works 5 times. So first 5 people who use it will get it. Anyone else, if they want to hop on a demo or get a little bit more info, they can schedule a demo just by the end of the month, and the $999 price will be available till the end of the month. So here's a QR code that'll take you to the sales page. So if you want to make sure you get that extra $200 off. Scan this now and get over there. This is your opportunity to make sure Skyslope integration gets built. If only one or two people, we already have one sign up, but if we only end up getting like one or two subscribers, we would just refund it and build like a dot loop integration. So if you really want a Skyslope integration, now is the time to make it happen. If we get 5 subscribers, which I'm almost certain is going to happen based on how many people have requested it, then we're going to build it. But yeah, this is your opportunity to make sure, you know, a solid Skyslope follow boss integration gets built if you want. And okay, yeah, there will be a demo option. So if you scan this QR code, the page will also have an option for scheduling a demo. Just make sure you schedule that by June 30th to get the discount. And then we also have a quarterly option. So if you prefer just signing up for the quarterly option, the quarterly option is only $4.99. And so then you'd get 3 months. So you get access while the SkySlope integration is being built. And then as soon as the SkySlope integration is up and running, you'll get access for 3 months at $4.99 if you want to come in for a little bit less. So again, offer expires June 30th. 100 people registered for this webinar. So only the first 5 get that additional discount. So scan the QR code if you're interested and take advantage of that additional $200 discount. So now I'm going to go to questions. So really appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate your time. I know you guys are busy, especially in late July. This is definitely your busy season, so appreciate your time. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, if you already have forms set up in Interface, you'll likely only have to pay for setup. Schedule a call with us by June 30th, and we're going to do about a 50% discount on whatever the setup is for existing users. Charity, if I remember correctly, will already cover the SkySlope integration part, but there will be some additional setup required. So definitely schedule that call by the end of the month so you can get the discount, and also again, we need to get at least 5 people signed up by the end of the month to let us know this is something that people are really interested in. So, schedule a demo so we can make sure this gets built. What other questions do we have? Why not go directly from dot loop or zip forms into SkySlope? That's interesting to use dot. Most teams don't use dot loop and SkySlope because those are kind of similar platforms. But
We
yeah,
do have some agents that do both, like one for just drafting documents out of dot loop and then Skyslope for actual like compliance. So I do have a few teams that actually use both.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. See, Charity has both.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we may do so the integration that we've gotten the most interested in is SkySlope. The next is dot loop. And so we're probably once we build the SkySlope integration, we're probably going to do the same process for dot loop. And there we may do like a dot loop to SkySlope connection as well. We just need to like nobody's ever requested dot loop to SkySlope, but yes, Mahir, so OK is traveling, can't use the QR code. Can you send him? Actually, can you put the link in the chat? So put the link to the subscription page in the chat.
Yeah, sure.
Ken Williams for Teams. So most of the people on here for our teams, the subscription covers the entire team. So we don't have a user-based model. You pay for how many forms you get access to and how many form entries. We do have additional plans that are a little more expensive that come with 12 forms or unlimited forms. So if that's something you're interested in, I'd schedule a demo. I would definitely sign up for the discount and then, schedule the demo and we can discuss what additional costs are. But you're paying for how many forms the team uses. The plan that I went over today covers the entire team. So you could have 100 agents and it's the same cost for 4 forms. It may get a little more expensive if you're going beyond the number of entries, but the plan comes with like 500 entries per month. So at least for the SkySlope integration, it should be sufficient. Yeah, so cost covers the team. Exactly. All right, let's see. So here, put the link in there. So that's where the QR code goes. If you just click on that link, it'll take you to the same place. Yes, it is being recorded. Normally we get the recording out the following Monday, but since we have the discount only available until June 30th, we'll probably send out the recording tomorrow. So people will have at least a couple of days to schedule a demo with us. So Lisa is one of our users for web forms.
We do have that listing form very similar. So our agent does the listing disposition appointment form, everything like that. Then we have the pre-listing form, which is actually like preloaded, it's templated. So thanks interface for like loading that out. We did customize a little bit just to add extra things. We've been playing with the idea of how to send out a possible form to the client to fill out because there's extra services that we have the client actually, fill out things like what types of inspections, do you want, and there's like 4 different types of inspections that we handle for our client. So that was something that was very unique to our one client agent that's doing the interface form. But usually most of the agents will just fill out the listing form. That'll trigger and let us know to kickstart, hey, we need to draft the MLS. Here's information, for just basically hand over information like, hey, the listing coordinator needs to know that they're going through a divorce. So separate the text, right? And the emails, like don't message them together. Those type of internal things that just kind of streamline the process. And then obviously when it goes pending, that goes over to us. And we actually did something very unique where, because I use also open to close a lot as well. And depending on your budget and how you want it set up, it may not be the best for everyone. So what we did for our one Follow Boss client is we took the action plans and we broke it up. So most people usually have what we call like a long checklist. It's just a, contract to close checklist, pending checklist, under contract checklist, whatever you want to call it. But in there, you have a really long form or long list of tasks that is like, if HOA, add this, right? If it's a, built before 1978, add in the lead-based paint. So it makes it a very long form with like additional tasks that we didn't need. So we were experimenting with interface and it's been pretty cool to see like we did a micro action plan where if HOA is yes in the interface form, then we have an HOA action plan that actually shows up. And if you
Exactly.
have to no, we don't have the HOA task anymore. So hallelujah, no more like miscellaneous, if this, that kind of thing inside of Follow Boss. It was a feat to get set up. So you'd have to like rethink the way you do your action plans and stuff, but us being able to control like what was conditional on your custom fields, which is how we pulled in the interface forms, is basically what we will now see as tasks. So you now have basically like conditional things that you can do with interface. And like we're trying to figure out a way with interface how we can make those as just templates, right? Like, is it HOA template? Is there an inspection template? Is there a loan finance template, right? So those things will trigger based on how you answer the form. So no one really goes that deep into forms. So thank you, interface, for doing that with us and experimenting. But I think that will like really change the way we use Follow Boss with interface forms, and you can make it pretty well-rounded with all the conditions that are coming in. So we're finding workarounds still every single day, but we love the time that it does save. So we don't have to think like, if I need this, remove that. It's just now answer one question and automatically pulls out the right task at the right time for me.
Yeah, which is especially important with Follow Boss because Follow Boss tasks, like the task list, is kind of unruly. And so if you have a bunch of tasks in there that aren't necessary, then it just really bogs you down. You either have to like go through after the action plan has been created and like delete all the tags that aren't necessary, and then, that it's just wasted time. So to be able to dynamically trigger action plans based off of what's submitted on the form, so only the tasks that are necessary, that's going to be really awesome. And so what we're going to be doing fairly soon is the ability to create tasks from the form entries, and then you can really get dynamic with it because then you could pass data from the form onto the task itself, because you don't have that. But with action plans and Follow Boss, you just trigger the action plan and whatever the task is named, that's the task named. But to be able to pull the data from the form into the task title, like that's going to even change the game even further. So Mike, I went back to the pricing. The year subscription comes with 4 forms. You're going to get the first 2 to 3 months access as a Skyslope integration is being built. So it's really going to be closer to like a 15-month subscription. The monthly is $99 a month. So it's about a 1742 value. Until the end of the month, it's going to be $9.99. And for the first 5 subscribers, so act now, it's only $7.99. That's going to be the least expensive it's ever going to be. We do want to get about 5 signups to make sure it's worth our time to build the integration. So definitely don't hold off, everyone. If you want a Skyslope integration, now's your time to make it happen.
Awesome.
Tara, we are going to make it bidirectional. Skyslope right now is working on webhooks, so we're not going to be able to make it bidirectional like instantly. We're going to do essentially like once an hour, or we may even do it as quickly as every 5 minutes. We'll go in and check for updates in Skyslope, and any updates that are made, we'll pull back to the follow boss deal. Mahir, it says charge B doesn't work.
Okay, I'll check.
Satish, this keeps loading. Yeah, and if you're having any issues, you can go ahead and schedule our demo page. We set it up to where you can schedule a demo for essentially right now. I have openings as early as 1 o'clock. If you need help getting signed up, if you ran into any technical difficulties, we can go ahead and give, 5 people already sign up and you schedule a demo because the billing wasn't working, then I'll go ahead and give you the discount as well. But that'll be good for today only. So go ahead and use the calendar if you're having any issues to schedule a demo for later today, and I can walk anybody through the sign up process if anyone else is having trouble with the billing page. I'm here. Awesome. All right. So we got a demo with Satish for later today. Any other questions? Anyone have any interest in seeing our opportunity table analytics platform? It's actually going to be pretty awesome. Have I shown you that yet, Lisa?
I think I saw a glimpse, but it'd be great to see it again.
All right. Yeah, so this will be a sneak peek for anyone who's hung around. All right. So this comes with any web form subscription. This will be included. We have this opportunity list where every time one of our forms are submitted, it creates an opportunity here, and then the subsequent forms compile the data to the opportunity. Right now, it's just a list, but eventually you'll be able to create filters for the list and it'll act like a spreadsheet. You'll be able to make updates here, and those updates will sync back to Follow Boss. So you'll be able to deal with your Follow Boss deals in a spreadsheet where as you make updates to the spreadsheet, the data will sync back to the Follow Boss deal. And so you can, filter by agent, filter by any info. I can drag this up here and it turns into like a group by setup. We have reporting capabilities. So let me see if I have like a price column. Yeah, I don't have enough data in here, but essentially you can drag and drop or drag down and right click and build out like bar charts or pie charts. And so what we're building towards is you'll be able to create different reports and then save them and refer back. So right now Any updates you make to the table will save this view. So if I don't want to see the type on here, now anytime I log back in, it'll be set up like this. But what you'll be able to do very soon is create a view or like filter by an agent and then save that. And then you'll have a list of different views to see different reports. And then you can see the different forms. So if I want to see the different form entries that populated the opportunity, I click there and it takes me to the form entry that was filled out from within Follow Boss. So we're pretty excited about this. And then,
It's like a smart list for reports.
yeah, it's like a smart list for opportunities. But what's awesome is right now we have opportunities. Eventually, we're going to have everything in here. So people, calls, emails, texts, all the different data that's in Follow Boss, you'll be able to build out different reports of that data and then filter it and, create bar charts or whatever you want. So it's going to be kind of like a analytics platform for your Follow Boss data that's much more customizable than anything else that's currently connected to Follow Boss. Other than, if you actually feed your Follow Boss data into like an analytics platform. Yeah, I can't remember any of the names. Tableau. Like, if you fed your data into Tableau, you can do whatever you want with it. So this is going to be kind of like Tableau built specifically for Follow Boss, where you can feed any data in and then build different reports. And then we're going to have goals and challenges and leaderboards and all that stuff as well. What's different about our platform is one, we have our form system, which makes sure the data is accurate because all the other platforms that are relying on Follow Boss deals, the data just isn't accurate because you can't get the agents to enter the data correctly in Follow Boss deals. So our forms will make sure the opportunity data is accurate. And then the other data we're sending in will be like the actual raw Follow Boss data. So, when a call comes in, you'll get the call duration and the person that was called and the agent that made the call and the timestamp of the call and the stage of the lead when the call was made. And so the type of reports that you'll be able to build when that's fully up and running is going to be pretty awesome. All right, so we're at the 45-minute mark. Any other questions while we're here? Otherwise, we'll wrap this up. Uh, Again, definitely schedule a demo if you have any more questions. The pricing, I'm gonna go back over to. So if you want to have Skyslope integration, this is going to be the least expensive it'll ever be. And we do need, a handful of people signing up for it to be worth our time to build it. So, go ahead and vote with your wallet if you want to save time with a Fall Boss Skyslope integration. Alicia, you have anything else to add before we sign off?
No, I'm super excited for this. It has saved me a bunch of time and stuff like that. So highly recommend. I'm going to start testing it on my own like Follow Boss accounts that we have for our agents with Skyslope. So just super looking forward to like streamlining everything a lot more. So I super appreciate this and all the hard work that Interface has put into it.
Awesome. So we had one more question. Let's see. So I'm putting a link in here. You can go to this link, and at the very bottom, I'm going to show you what this looks like. So you can go to that link and go to schedule a demo, and you can schedule a demo right there. Or, oops, you can also sign up from here. If you are signing up, don't forget to put this coupon code in when you sign up because this is what gets that additional $200 off for the first 5 subscriptions. All right, Carly, so that's how you schedule the demo. Any last questions? Oh, wait, that did not go to, all right, I'm putting it into everyone right now. All right, so Carly, there's the link. I just put that into everyone. So that's where you can access a demo page. All right. Now let's see. Can you send the code for the $200 off? Yes, I can. There's the code. Skyslope presale. So that's the $9.99 price is good till the end of the month. The additional $200 off, you got to put that code in when you're signing up. So when you go, if you indicate, no, I'm a new user, it will take you to this page. And then when you click on subscribe, it'll give you the option of putting a, let me see if it's working for me. So you apply the coupon here. All right. I think that should do it. Lisa, really appreciate you being here. If anybody needs their Follow Boss account dialed in with, transaction management action plans to, Follow Boss definitely isn't designed to, by default, be a good transaction management platform, but Lisa can make it a good transaction management platform. So anybody who needs to get like our system will trigger the action plans, but we're not going to go in and build those action plans out for you. If you want some advanced action plans for transaction management, reach out to Lisa Vo from Simply Closed and she'll get you dialed in.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I always look forward to partnering with y'all. And yeah, just find us on simplyclose.com. If you want to just get a chat and like know how to build certain things, like we're always about helping the community and stuff to just to make things a lot easier. So Charlie, I will put the information down in the chat.
Perfect. So we'll hang out for a few more minutes. There we go, Simply Closed. Lisa does use our form, so she's very familiar with our platform. She's a great resource if you want to really take Follow Boss to the next level of transaction management. Our forms really do kind of bridge the gap to making it a usable transaction management platform. It's very challenging doing it just with the resources in Follow Boss by itself. So the forms really make it so you can do transaction management at a high level. And Lisa can build in all those action plans that'll have the tasks and everything you need, your agents need, and your TCs need to make it work really well. All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up. We will send out this recording probably early tomorrow. Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to working with everyone who subscribes. Thanks a lot, and thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.